It's let's see, does it say what that is? Can you see it? Oh, there we go. 4:58 on the 28th. I'm here at the Maverick Yard in Arkansas at Fort Smith, and we do a lot of this steel bar, and you can see some of it is really thick. You know, I think that stuff there is 5 inches, the big rusty pile there. And then you got like 2 to 3 inches right next to it. And I'm carrying, I think the longest bar I'm carrying is 32 feet. And I don't have to tarp it. And I don't know if I was necessarily ahead of schedule, but they haven't gotten to, it was supposed to be a preloaded trailer, but they haven't loaded it yet. So they're going to do a live load, which I think is awesome, because that means I don't have to do all the trailer swap stuff, which usually involves me swapping all the whatever dunnage I have left, my tarps, both the steel and the lumber, and all the little wood blocks I have to carry, and my friction mats. Everything that's in the trailer, I have to swap it. So it doesn't really save us a lot of time doing a preloaded trailer. It may save the loaders time. It's more efficient for them. But and it may work out for us as drivers as well. I haven't really thought about the time involved, because since it's a live load, I have to sit here while he loads the trailer, and however long that takes, plus whatever I have to do to secure it, may equal pulling up to a preloaded trailer, securing it, and swapping all my gear. So all in all, it may just be that it saves, it's more efficient for the people, it's more efficient for somebody. Maybe the live load is just less efficient on both sides. I don't know. So it depends on how you look at it. I'm carrying, from what I remember from the paperwork, because the loader has it right now, I'll be carrying 6 bundles. And some I think are 22 feet long. So it'll be interesting to see how this looks. I don't have to tarp it, which is awesome. So you'll get to see this load once I get it all secured. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay at this Maverick. What's interesting about the Fort Smith yard is, yeah, they load steel here, but at the front of the building, where those trailers are, but that way, I mean, it's all parking, and on the far side of the building, there's parking along the edge there too, and they have a driver's lounge, laundry, shower facilities. It's very similar to a Pilot or a Flying J in the sense that you can go in and well, it's kind of different, but they're individual showers with like a setup like Flying J. It doesn't cost anything. This is a Maverick facility, so all of those functions of laundry, showers, TV, anything you can think of that a normal truck waiting facility would have is free here for Maverick drivers. And I think they have some non-Maverick personnel that come in and haul loads for Maverick. I think they're contracted out. I don't know. I'm just guessing here because I see some trucks in here that aren't Maverick. I'm not sure if they're allowed into those facilities, because I have in order to get into my Maverick facilities, I got a key-coded Maverick badge. So maybe they don't utilize that stuff. I'm curious as to what bathroom they may use then. I think, yeah, I don't know. They have a vehicle. At most of the Maverick yards, they have a courtesy vehicle. So if I wanted to, I could sign it out with my name and truck number. I take the keys, go get in the car, and drive away. And most people drive to like the local restaurants nearby here. There's like less than a mile. There's a bunch of them. Or if you need to go to Walmart, pick up stuff, which I should do because I didn't make it home for the weekend. But I think I've got enough supplies that I can squeeze it out with what I got. I may not have a lot of variety, but I think that'll work. So that's it. Well, I guess the other thing is do I stay here tonight? Because I do have 2 hours on my clock, on my driving clock, but only 40 minutes on my 14. It's coming close now. I got 30 minutes, so if he can get... Okay, most likely this is going to take me about an hour and a half, 30 minutes maybe for him to load and for me to secure. An hour and a half or less. So that'll leave me about an hour to drive. I've already driven 495 miles today. I've done 9 hours worth of driving. So it really depends on how long this takes to load. Will determine if I'm going to drive a mile down the road or not. This load is going from Fort Smith to Chicago. It delivers, let's see, today is the 28th, 29th. Delivers on the 30th at a set appointment time in Chicago. I may have been to this place. It's a forge. And I'm not scared of big cities anymore. I think I used to when I was first driving. But most of these big, hey, we need a lot of steel, have what I would call almost dedicated truck routes going into the facility where I'll get directions across my OmniTrax, and it will tell me road by road turns on how best to get to this facility. And I traditionally follow those because when you go outside of that, if you were to rely solely on your GPS, you could find yourself in a neighborhood with some really tight turns. It may not be impossible to get through it with your GPS, but we have directions that have already been, vetted. Other drivers have already gone and provided these directions saying, hey, this is how you should go to get there. And so that's what I do. I follow those directions. I'm going to put my address to Chicago. Tomorrow's going to be a great day because all I'm going to do is drive. Well, not exactly 11 hours, but I'll start at like 5:30. I don't know. I can start at 7 and be done at 6. So the reason I like driving days is because there's no dropping off and no picking up. And those are what waste the time. When it's just a drive day, that's just all miles and all money. So I like those days. But those days are broken up by the double drop days where you're dropping off and picking up. And so like today, I dropped off my shingles, and then I drove down to Fort Smith here from Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, to pick up the steel load. And I still got 500 miles in, so what the hey. So anyway, I'm going to punch in my destination and plan my route. So we may see you tomorrow morning, or you may see me tonight wrapping up this video. We'll see. Depends if I need to make a sandwich or not. It is 7:55 on Tuesday, and I've been pulled over for about, let me turn this down, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It's having trouble focusing. Takes about half an hour and then it'll focus. But anyway, I'm out of hours, and I am it's been where to begin? I picked up my load of steel.
Proceed to the highlighted route.
I won't be able to proceed to that highlighted route until tomorrow. Let me show you what I got going on here. I'm at a closed way station. There's truck slots here. I've never parked at a way station before. I'm assuming this would be considered a safe haven. I'm out of hours. I went to a I went to a medium-sized Pilot, and I thought, you know, the odds are at 7:30 I might be able to find a spot, until I pulled up to the station and realized I had been there before. And when I pulled into it, I realized I'm not going to find a spot because this thing has no parking spots any time of the day. Every time I've been there several times to fuel, not needing a parking spot and always thinking, man, it would suck to have to park here. Because, oh man. Anyway, we will see. We shall see if this works out, because and that's not really the issue. I mean, there's always a possibility somebody could come knocking at my door and say, hey, you can't park here, and deal with that if that happens. But the issue is this right here. I got this big packet of paperwork after I picked up my load. And after, that's what I gave the forklift driver who loaded my truck. And then a gentleman got on the back of my truck and inspected all the product that I'm shipping to verify that I'm assuming that this was the product I'm supposed to be carrying, that has the correct markings on it and paperwork and whatnot. And he signed that paperwork, as it looks like the loader. It was the loader signed it and the inspector initialed it. And I put a couple of belly wraps around my steel, and let's see, on the front and on the back has a belly wrap, and then I've got 4 chains, and all of those, the straps and the chains, all count towards securement, each securing 8,000 pounds, and it's 46,180 pounds apparently. So I've got more than you know, you have to round up. So I've got what is required. But anyway, I put the 2 belly wraps on and then pulled the truck around to the front to do the rest of the securement. So I was out of the way so they could load more trucks if any came in. I didn't want to be in the way. Anyway, I hopped up there, put my, got all my chains on and my binders, and did my my timing on my clock, and did my leaving shipper message, and I left. And 75 miles later, I got a phone call. And I laugh out of stress more than it being funny, because this is not funny. They called and said, hey, your truck number 14147? And I said, yeah. Says, you got your bills? And I look at him and I'm like, yeah. And he says, nope, I got them right here in front of me. And I was like, are you serious? He says, yeah, what you have is just loading documents. So 75 miles later, and only 15 minutes left on my clock. Anyway, then it was a mad scramble after that, because I pull in, realize no parking. I've got to find other parking on top of this incident. And so I found a place down the road, like 6 minutes, and I looked it up on Google Maps really quick, and I'm like, holy cow, it looks like 5 spots maybe, but I might be able to cram my truck into this little corner. And I'm driving down the road thinking to myself, this is nuts. What does that say? Okay. No parking on ramps. I'm not on a ramp. I'm in parking. I'm in a parking spot. So maybe that'll afford me the opportunity to park here. But anyway, I'm running my mind is going a million miles an hour as I'm traveling to this next stop, thinking, oh man, what am I doing? What do I got to do? And I make the turn to come back on the highway, and I'm like, oh wait, I can park on the shoulder. And I'm like, man, I don't want to park on the shoulder. Let me keep driving. And as soon as I get on the highway, I saw this way station. It said closed, but there were no gates or anything. So whoop, right in here, and I was like, ooh, it doesn't look like there's any parking spots. And then I got on the other side of the weigh station, and there's like 7 or 8 parking spots. And I'm like, well, here goes nothing. And I'll find out tonight if this is okay, if nobody knocks on my door. I'm assuming so, because there were no signs that say no parking. These are striped, lined parking spots for trucks. So, I mean, I pulled over in a weigh station before for like a 30-minute break, or to do a load check. So we'll see what happens. Now to the paperwork issue. So I've got 2 things on my mind: paperwork and parking. I don't mind parking here. I just don't want to, be doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. So anyway, here I thought I had my paperwork all along, and I don't. And I'm 75 miles away. So if I have to drive back in the morning when I have hours, 75 miles back to Fort Smith to pick up this paperwork, and then continue on my way. So this basically adds 150 miles to my my 600, but that I won't get paid for. They've allotted me 682 miles to do this trip, and I'm, if I had 140 on that, that's on me. And it counts against my out of route. So I started to do some research. And, because I had a million things I was putting in my GPS, how to get back to Fort Smith. Oh my goodness. My mind was... Anyway, I decided to call Flying J and Pilot customer service to see if they had the ability to receive fax paperwork. And they do. So I called, whoever called me, and I don't know the gentleman's name, I just redialed the number he called me and explained that, hi, I'm truck number 14147, you just called me. Are you able to fax that paperwork if I were to give you a fax number? He said, yes. I don't know if he's necessarily happy about that, but that was the only solution I could think of that would save the company 140 miles worth of gas. So, I'm about to run out of time. So anyway, long story even shorter, in the morning, I'll get up and drive an hour and 23 minutes to the Flying J, and hopefully my bills are there. Because if they're not, that's an extra 70 miles. I'll call and have them refax it while I'm there. And tomorrow's just a driving day, so we'll see what happens. All right, let me throw another 2 cents in there. Boy, if this... every place I go to pick up is different. And yeah, I do go for repeat business to certain locations, but everybody does their loading, or there's a large variety of loading, check-in procedures, paperwork procedures. There's a great variety of that at most locations. And like I learned things the hard way, now I know to ask every time. Because he handed me the paperwork and I thought I was good to go. And now I'm kicking myself. But now I know to ask. Because this was a Maverick facility. And I just assumed. Now you know what happens when you do that. Anyway, because most other locations I say after I get loaded, it's like, okay, do I need to go somewhere to get paperwork? Is this my paperwork, or do I need to go somewhere else to get it? And they'll tell me. He says, no, that's all you need, or yeah, come in the office when you're done. And I didn't ask, and so this is all my fault, really. They, in some places, I guess the procedures can be, there can be several steps involved in the process of going in, signing in, getting your paperwork to get loaded, going to the destination they tell you to get loaded, getting secured, returning, if that's what you're supposed to do, and do all your stuff on your Qualcomm. It would be beneficial if there was something written on the paperwork, because I'm hoping I'm not the first guy this has happened to. You know, hopefully, there's instructions on this paperwork. But I guess it's for loaders. I would think that they would be able to have one for the drivers, a note. Because these talk about how heat must be shipped complete before. Do not mix heat codes. It talks about banding requirements, blocking between the bundles, and there needs to be one more that says, drivers, after these 2 items are signed by the loader and inspector, come back inside and get your bills. Because I had to get information off of these documents in order to put it in my OmniTrax, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's my order number. Because part of the process on the OmniTrax, when you do a leaving shipper, it asks you about your consignee and if the address is different. So I'm looking, and obviously if this didn't have an address on it, I would have known there was an issue. But I mean, it's got the address, the customer name, and the address, and I'm like, oh yeah, they even highlighted it. That's where I'm going. So I put, obviously I answered and said, nope, no changes. Man, I'm frustrated at myself. I mean, it's got the product listed on here and the total weights, and that's what the bills have on it. It's all this information. Huh. Oh well. I definitely learned a big lesson today, and we'll see if it all works out tomorrow. Right now I need to make a sandwich because this is just crazy.